Hello, everybody. It is me, Pacific, on this fine Saturday morning. I woke up this morning, read my devotions, got me a glass of water, ate a banana, turned on my internet, and I was shocked. I'm going to put in here the link, and this is something every guy should see, every male. They're calling it the most violent place or the most violent country in the world towards women. I was absolutely stunned by this. One of my favorite places, a place I've always wanted to go and live, actually more than any place, even in Asia, is the South Pacific. Of course, my namesake. Why wouldn't I want to go to my namesake, Pacific? Papua New Guinea. I will put in the video here a link. It is disturbing. And when Pacific deals with feminism and all the ugliness that today's women are gaining momentum against us day by day by day, we need to keep in mind that one of the things that does fuel today's women to be so anti-male is when you see this video, there's no doubt in my mind that we men need to take a good long look at ourselves. I realize in America things are quite different, but there still is violence. We're seeing women doing violence today, and that's inexcusable just as much as it is inexcusable for men to do violence. I've always said that women should not provoke men to wrath, but neither should men provoke women to wrath. I am amazed when I hear story after story. Even in this country, I've ran into a lot of women. More than 50% of the women I meet have claimed that their husband, that their boyfriend, that their father, that their uncle, or some male in their family has been violent upon them physically. I'm not even talking verbal abuse, emotional abuse, or what I would call as a Christian spiritual abuse, which is a very real problem. I have a hard time understanding what is wrong with men when they want to overpower and control and dominate a woman to the point of harming her, injuring her, beating on her. I have not operated that way. I do not understand why, if a man is that angry at a woman, why he doesn't just leave the relationship and go away. But you need to watch this video, and you need to check it out. It is disturbing. When we talk about violence, it is very real. Even in America, we live in a culture of violence. So much so that in Denver, we've got girls fighting girls, beating each other up, proud of it, bragging about it. I look at the movies in American culture. I look at the video games. A lot of video games are just flat out violent. People say that does not have an adverse effect on us, and I would strongly disagree. I know many of my viewers play video games. I'm not out to attack them, but I still have a belief that whatever we put into ourselves is reflective of what's in here. I was reading the other night in the book that I bought, that's 609 pages long, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, the German pastor who stood up against Hitler and his atrocious behavior. He says in it, he talks about when he went to Barcelona, that he went to an actual bullfight. And even he admitted there that the crowd would go nuts when the bull was goring a man. And he found a certain fascination with it. I was disturbed. I was like, Dietrich Bonhoeffer? People can get into a frenzy. And what disturbs me is even I know that if a crowd goes wild and I happen to be down in that melee, the only thing that's wise to do is get out. Something in human nature, in the riot mentality, that otherwise normal people that everybody thought were nice get caught up in the emotional frenzy. They lose their minds, and it's nothing short of demonic. I don't like violence. The images you will see on that video of what men have done to their women down there, taking a flat machete type knife and chopping hands and chopping into women's flesh. If any man is not appalled by that, there's something wrong with you. It is sad in our society that as much as I talk about feminism, you rarely hear about men having to get restraining orders against women. But you hear lots of women having to get restraining orders against males. Rape. Women don't generally rape. Men do. And you add stuff like alcoholism and drug abuse. The endangerment factor for a female goes straight up. It's interesting that in the Bible, in the days of Noah, that there's a verse in there, something along the lines that God saw that men were just increasingly violent. And I see it in our culture of driving. People hitting and running pedestrians, leaving the scene, leaving some family, some wife, somebody to pick up the pieces and try to figure it out. As we look at American culture and see that people are not having a conscience, even as something as simple as some rude cyclist blowing every stop sign, when a person exhibits this behavior, we need to be concerned because it just means that the next domino of conscience will fall, that they will think nothing of killing or harming somebody and ride off into the sunset. I am concerned about a lack of conviction. If all of my viewers, male and female, would just look back in their own lives, they'd see what I'm talking about is true. Remember when Mother told you don't be stealing stuff out of the cookie jar? She'd leave. First thing you do is go flying into the kitchen, grab the lid, and but when we were little, our consciences were tender. Mom would come home and you felt, uh-oh, she finds out. And as we age, and as we get older, we learn to rationalize, justify, and excuse. And one day we find ourselves doing things we would have never done as a small child. And today, we're at a point, collectively and individualistically, where the Bible says having their consciences seared with a hot iron. I don't think I need to elaborate the picture of what that's saying, except to say that when we do not submit to that word of truth, and we just do something and roll over it, we start damaging our conscience. That little prick inside that says, hey, what are you doing? And that's what's happened to our society. When I talk about all of the problems, rude drivers on the road, they don't have any conscience, any conviction anymore. People today don't think there's anything wrong with literally offending somebody else. Just don't offend them now, because then they're ready to scream about their entitlement and their rights. I'm not going to make this a long video because I'm going to let the video speak for itself that I've included in the link here. And I encourage discussion. Regardless of what you think of the tribal mentality or the behavior in Papua New Guinea, the bottom line is this stuff is wrong. And rest assured that Australian government, parliamentary government, other people are getting involved and saying, we need to stop this. When men act like this kind of stuff sets the stage for feminism to take over. And that has severe implications. As we have seen in America now, feminism has gone too far. And their basis for starting it was somewhat valid. But like any movement, the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, it started off with a good premise, but it's got way too far out of hand. Somebody erects some nativity scene on a courthouse thing, and the ACLU is ready to sue and get a diaper rash over it. Ironically, a nativity scene actually does not negatively affect anybody's quality of life in America whatsoever. But it obviously does the atheist. So now, instead of dealing with the real problems in our society, like bad and dangerous traffic behavior, like hit and running people, hit and running other automobiles and leaving, and the increasing aggression we see on the roads, we make laws that silence those that have faith, those that have conservative viewpoints. And America, the greatest nation on earth, is drowning in litigiousness. It's drowning in complete foolishness. Then you got a country out in the middle of the South Pacific, beautiful lush jungle. There's all kinds of atrocious behavior going on there, and it's caught the attention of people. Women admitting on the video that the husbands think they're bosses. Women saying, I thought this was normal to grow up in this culture of violence. The men are just an example of a seared conscience, and with all due respect, my Christian beliefs clearly tell me, when you look at these people, you can clearly tell that they're a godless society anyway. When you don't have God as the starting point, then you have a tribal mentality that exists where the strongest will survive, and if you don't submit to the strongest, you're going to pay. Back again to when atheists say there's no God. This island is an example of what happens to a group of people who don't believe in a creator. This is the way they operate. Men and women do not evolve to a higher plane. That is false. I've studied enough island life just in reading that a godless culture produces godless behavior. We in America are seeing this more and more and more. The atheists, the evolutionists have been railing for a long time, there is no God, evolution is true, and that doctrine has taken hold of the American people. And yet we still thinly hold on to civility laws and stuff designed to protect people. but not really. When you look at the video, viewers, tell me what you think. I want to open up this discussion. The specific is not one-sided. I watched that video and I'm like, this is disturbing. Very disturbing. I don't believe in treating women like that. I don't believe in treating women like that at all. Anyways, this is Specific, signing off. Bye-bye.